The MLB offseason is a period every baseball enthusiast looks forward to with anticipation. Who wouldn't, right? It's a period peppered with numerous transformative plans, ranging from free agency signings to packaging the face of the sport in a new way in preparation for a new season. And each season comes with its own drama like clockwork. Despite the preparation from each team, not everything turns out well, especially the seemingly gold-plated headline-making moves. A lot of things could go wrong, and they often do. From a failed free agent signing to a rosy deal that turns out to be filled with thorns, or a painful decision to either sign or release a particular star, every club has a few regrets they wish they could erase or rectify. With a number of transactions that spans over a decade, ladies and gentlemen, below are some carefully selected instances of some MLB teams' biggest regrets since the 2012-13 offseason. Now, this is one hell of a ride, and you need to hold on to something solid. 1. Defective Cuban. In 2014, the Arizona Diamondbacks signed Cuban defector Yasmany Tomas on a 6-year, $68.5 million deal with the hopes that they now had the next Yoenis Cespedes or a Jose Abreu. Unfortunately, reality was different from expectations. What happened? Instead of the superstar they were expecting him to be, he turned out to be a major letdown. He was tagged a one-dimensional slugger with a lack of defensive prowess. His poor defensive capabilities often canceled out whatever he did in the batter's box. Although he had quite a successful season in 2016, where he made a total of 31 home runs, he was still considered a negative WAR, wins above replacement, which is the number of wins a player added to the team above what a replacement player would add player, and had a record of minus 2.5 WAR in 309 games during the duration of the contract. Despite how bad it looks, this deal narrowly edges over the jaw-dropping deal that the Atlanta Braves signed for Dansby Swanson in 2015. 2. Upton? Not so up. If the Atlanta Braves were given the opportunity, it's obvious they wouldn't miss the chance to delete the contracts of Marcell Ozuna and Eddie Rosario from their list of current payrolls. But then both deals pale in comparison when it comes to B.J. Upton, who happens to be the Braves' most regrettable signing. Upton had quite the numbers, a total of 28 home runs and 31 steals. His on-base percentage was a meager .298 and a pedestrian 108 OPS+, which weren't much if we're being honest. Despite all the glaring faults, the Atlanta Braves decide to pull out the stops and spend heavily on him due to his ability to play center field and his coming-off age 27 season. However, they were soon to regret ever signing this deal. Why was that? After his signing, his brief spell with the club resulted in terrible numbers of .198, .279, .314 with minus 1.7 WAR in 267 games. It was at this time that Atlanta decided it was enough and sent him packing alongside all-star closer Craig Kimbrell to San Diego Padres in a deal that was signed just before the beginning of the 2015 season. 3. Angels swing and miss. The Los Angeles Angels have had quite a few bad deals in their history, from the Albert Pujols deal that didn't pan out as expected to the signing of Anthony Rendon that is currently on the verge of becoming a major disappointment. You can say the Angels have had their fair share of regrets. However, none of these deals comes close to the Josh Hamilton contract. Fresh off a season where he had finished 5th in the AL MVP voting by recording a 141 OPS+ with 43 home runs and 128 RBI to his name, Josh Hamilton was undeniably one of the top players on the market. With an achievement to his name, the Angels picked up Hamilton in a 5-year deal with intentions of placing him alongside Pujols in a new-look lineup. However, things didn't turn out as expected. His productivity reduced drastically right from his Angels debut, and as a result, played only 89 games the following year. Furthermore, he underwent shoulder surgery during spring training just before the start of his 3rd season. During his recovery phase, he had a relapse of drug and alcohol use, and subsequently the Angels traded him back to the Rangers, eating a large part of the $80 million he was being owed. 4. Spending big, earning little. During the 2014-15 offseason, the Boston Red Sox bore the tag of big spenders as they signed the duo of Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez. The deal for the pair was a whopping 4-year, $88 million deal, which if we're being honest is a lot of money. However, they might as well not have signed the duo. For Pablo Sandoval, it was a struggle to stay in form and on field during the start, even managing to hit .237, .286, .360 for a 71 OPS+ and minus 1.6 WAR in 161 games before he was eventually released halfway through his 3rd season with the team. Later, he would return to the San Francisco Giants and take up a solid part-time role. Despite that, he was still getting paid by the Boston Red Sox. The incident was like rubbing salt into their wounds. If there was ever an ill-fated signing, Pablo Sandoval would be the persona for it. 5. $184 million pep talk. If we were to hazard a guess on how much an inspiring speech during a rain delay in Game 7 of the World Series would be worth, it would be around $184 million. At least for the Chicago Cubs, that's the amount that was paid for a pep talk. You'd wonder how that happened, right? Well, James Hayward was signed for that exact amount. Guess what? His inspiring talk the day he was signed was about the only good thing he added to the club during the time he spent with them. And yes, he made fans wait in the rain just for that. While it was true that he won Gold Gloves in his first 2 seasons with the club, he had a hit of just .245, .323, .377 for an 86 OPS plus and 8.9 WAR in 744 games before he was released in the offseason just before the final year of his contract. 6. Terrible luck. When injury-prone Scott Kazmir turned out healthy seasons in the 2014 190.1 IP, 3.55 ERA, and 2015 183.0 IP, 3.10 ERA seasons, the Los Angeles Dodgers picked him up in a 3-year deal in free agency with the hopes that he would maintain his good form. Well, for his first season, the left-handed player lived up to expectations, in the first season making 10-6 with a 4.56 ERA, 1.36 WHIP, and 134 strikeouts in 136.1 innings. But from there on, everything went downhill. After that debut, Kazmir never threw another pitch in a Dodgers uniform. Due to his recent injuries, the very thing he was known for, he was kept on the sidelines for the entirety of the 2017 season before getting traded to the Atlanta Braves alongside other players for Matt Kemp. 7. Extension? How about not? During the 2013 season, Homer Bailey recorded a 3.49 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, and 199 strikeouts in just 209 innings. The outcome? The Cincinnati Reds decided to reward him with a 9-figure extension during the offseason, which seemed like a good idea at the time. Sadly for him, his campaign in 2014 was abruptly cut short by injuries, and from then, he was never himself again. He never returned to his previous peak. He struggled to attain a 6.25 ERA and 1.68 WHIP, while giving opposing hitters the chance to bat an absurd .316, .377, .511 against him in the middle 4 years of the extension. Just before his contract expired, he was traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers alongside prospects Josiah Gray and Jeter Downs in exchange for Yasiel Puig, Alex Wood, Matt Kemp, and Kyle Farmer in what happened to be an exchange of bad deals. Here's the crazy thing. Bailey was released by the Dodgers the next day after the deal was completed. 8. Another extensive mistake. When Miguel Cabrera signed an extension contract with the Detroit Tigers, he still had a couple of years left from his previous contract. This meant that the 8-year deal he had signed wouldn't begin until 2016. In the 3 years prior to the extension, his numbers were quite impressive. Winning 3 straight AL batting titles, a Triple Crown, and a pair of AL MVP wins, it could be said that Cabrera was at the peak of his career. That was the problem, his peak. Miguel Cabrera was in his 30s, and it was uncertain that he would continue to produce and display such quality deep into late 30s. It was a sure losing deal for the Tigers. Nevertheless, he continued to display his MVP-level qualities throughout the 2016 season, but things went downhill from that point. For the next 6 years, he has only hit .262, .330, .385 for a 96 OPS plus with -2.1 WAR in 603 games. It really was a fall from grace. To cap it off, as at 2023, which was the final year of the extension, he was owed $32 million. At the very least, the deal gave Cabrera a chance to log his 3,000th hit and 500th home run while donning the Tigers uniform. 9. Houston Astros regretful release. When the Houston Astros released JD Martinez, they were just coming off a 111-loss season and needed a total overhaul. They were in the initial stages of the overhaul when they released JD Martinez in 2014, just before opening day. At 25, JD Martinez had hit .250, .272, .378 for a 79 OPS plus with 7 home runs and a 26.5 strikeout rate in 310 plate appearances just the previous season. However, this wasn't enough to convince the Astros to keep him. After his release, he was picked up by the Tigers just 2 days later, helped him regain his swing, and from there on, the rest is history. While playing for the Tigers, he had impressive numbers, hitting .315, .358, .553 with 30 doubles and 23 home runs in 2014. This firmly cemented his reputation as a fearsome slugger in baseball. Well, it's certainly been an interesting ride. We've seen the highs and the lows, but above all, we've established a pattern. Even the most lucrative deals can be terrible. Are there other memorable regrets that didn't make the list? We'd love to hear it in the comments section. Don't forget to hit the like button, share, and subscribe for other interesting videos like this one. See you in the next one.